Hi, this is Sarah Mikesell with thecropsite.com, and today we're here with Matt Roberts. He's an associate professor in the Ag Economics department at The Ohio State University. And today, Matt, we're out at the Wyffels Corn Strategy Conference, and you're going to be talking with some producers. What's your key message to them today?
Well, Sarah, the first thing I think producers need to understand is how we got to the place that we did. I think it's always important to understand history. So what I start out in any of these Outlook talks is talking about the past decade and specifically how we got to the prices that we had in the past couple years. Now, we've all heard about demand, we've all heard about ethanol, we've all heard all these different numbers, we all hear it, and it's hard to actually relate, especially when we talk international demand, when we're talking metric, when we're talking millions of metric tons. I personally don't know what that means. I grew up in Southwest Missouri. I don't really speak metric. So I think it's important to put this in a context that everybody can relate to. And here's what I came to as I worked on this a few years ago. And it's an interesting concept. So if we go back to 2001, China imported roughly 600 million bushels of soybeans from the world. We go up to 2011, they imported 1.9 billion bushels of soybeans. You look at that change, you divide it out by first world yields, and what you get is that's about a 30 million acre increase in soybeans that needed to be planted just to meet China's import demand. Now that's not just US, but that is global, just to meet increased demand in China. Now, when we compare that, what's the other thing we hear a lot about driving prices through the first part of the 21st century is US ethanol. Over that same time period, U.S. ethanol production went from roughly 500 million bushels needed to produce that ethanol to 5 billion bushels needed. You convert that into acres and it works out to be roughly 20 million acres more corn needed to be produced to meet U.S. ethanol demand. So the important thing to realize is corn plus soybeans, the two of those are U.S. ethanol increased demand for corn plus Chinese increased demand for soybeans. That's 50 million more acres of demand for just the number one and number two drivers of demand. Let's put that in context. That's over twice as much as Illinois produces in a given year. So tremendous demand growth. And when you think in that context, it's really no wonder that we've seen a big increase in those crop prices because the market has needed to bid a lot of acres into production. And again, this 50 million acres, again, twice what Illinois produces, roughly one Illinois plus one Iowa in demand. That's just the number one and number two. That doesn't include increased Brazilian domestic demand to feed their growing animal population. It doesn't include Chinese corn demand. It doesn't include Indonesia, South Korea, Japan, any of these other countries, just number one and number two. And so when we think about it, that change is crucial to understand, not just for high crop prices, but also for high land prices. That's what's driving it, is this strong demand we've had in the first decade of the 21st century.
Very good. And tell me exactly, so what does that mean for the grower? That's just pricing that's pricing for how we got to where we are, right?
So that strong demand from those two plus another 8 or 9 factors is what really pushed up the prices of crops that we saw starting in about 2007 to about 2012, trying to create incentives for more to be produced to meet this strong demand. And as we'll hear today in my talk, that's exactly what we've seen now happen over the past 3 years. Globally, producers have responded to those price signals.
Very good. And certainly, I mean, we're seeing record numbers of acres now, right?
Exactly. Not only in the U.S., but globally.
Very good. Thanks so much for your time today, Matt.
It's a pleasure.
Great information. This is Sarah Mikesell for thecropsite.com.